You're like me, probably. You go onto Roblox, you see all these games on the Discover page, but you don't see any of the games you want. Specifically, you love horror games, and you want to find horror games on Roblox. Well, horror games on Roblox are notoriously never front page material, and so you can't find it on the Discover page because all it reveals are front page material games. So, with that in mind, I'll be showing you how to get around that. You used to be able to just search by genre. Roblox nuked that back 7 years ago, so you can't do that anymore. The first step to finding horror games on Roblox is actually just playing horror games on Roblox. Simply play a few horror games, head to your homepage on Roblox, which has been overhauled to hell and back, and you'll see this nifty thing called recommended for you and continue playing these. These will have horror games, games based on the games you've recently played and all that. And it's a nifty feature. It's where I found a game called Desync. Desyncing is an interesting experience. It had interesting graphics reminiscent of late PS2, early PS3 games. It doesn't have that much sound, like the creator...
That is a little wild. Alright, let's wait for the...
It was a very amateurish, noobish game, but it was still a fun, enjoyable experience. Very short, maybe around 5-7 minutes. You could get it done pretty quickly. Doesn't really take that much time. Sort of enjoyable. But Desyncing isn't the only game I found with this method. I've found other games with this method, such as Mental, a horror experience based around, well, if you have arachnophobia, it's a terrifying experience. Very, very terrifying. Mental had an interesting, it was interesting in my opinion. So, in Mental, you play as a person going to investigate an asylum, a mental health institution. There is actually some really good mechanics, because at the start you can pick and choose equipment to bring with you, which will change the outcome, or it could change the outcome. There is a gun in the menu where if you buy it, you get the secret ending, which is activated by you crossing a threshold at the end of the game. That I thought was pretty cool. So how you got this gun was actually playing the game for the first time, getting a bunch of coins, and then you could buy the gun with the coins on your next run, encouraging you to play the game a little more. Kind of reminds me of the camping genre type of games. The main draw of Mental, in my opinion, would have been the cutscenes. It has great camera movement, good attention to motion detail, proper ambience too, even. I felt kind of unnerved. There's a lot of loud sounds, a lot of little jump scares that it attempts to rile you with. Not the greatest way of producing fear, but a definite one that everybody seems to love using. You'll see a lot of it in Roblox horror games especially. Alright, I've been talking way too much about this, about games so far, and not about how to find other horror games. So, when you want to find more horror games, and this home menu thing isn't working out, Roblox has a section in every game called the Recommended tab, and if you look at the Recommended tab, you can see a bunch of games that are vaguely related or part of the same genre as the game you are currently trying to play. And so that is where I found a game called Happy Family. Happy Family is a game with an artistic doodle style. It tries pretty hard on that theme. It has an antagonist, a dedicated ending, and it's pretty consistent in its structure. The minigames that aren't that impressive. Dying is an actual task to do. It's not a hard game by any means. And honestly, the story itself, while it is consistent, it's also lackluster. But it is still a definite enjoyable experience if you just want to play horror games. Now, what if you want to visit the past of Roblox horror games? Well, there is a developer who came to later be known as the guy who made Lethal Company, who actually developed games on Roblox. Chief among which is Lightbulb Reilluminated, but, no, Lightbulb, it's just Lightbulb. There's a remade version called Lightbulb Reilluminated. However, I'll be talking about Silent Dark. Silent Dark is one of his earlier horror games. It isn't that great of a masterpiece, but it is old. It's an old Roblox horror game designed for an event called Game Creation Challenge, which was an event around the theme of horror, scare our pants off. It produced a lot of front runners to having really good games. One of the games was a winner of this, and that game is sadly no longer available to play. I think it was called Oasis, or Oasis was one of the ones to win. Either way, GCC produced a lot of interesting horror games, and if you want, you can always search up games that are horror related by putting GCC. You'll find a bunch of old Roblox horror games. Sure, most of them probably won't work, but you can find remade versions of them and use tip number 2, which allowed you to find them via recommended, to find more horror games. Now, old Roblox games also have a habit of, when they look at the recommended, it just brings up really front page games such as ABA. Ignore that. It's just a case of Roblox hating you. And so, with that in mind, let's talk about Silent Dark. Silent Dark is more atmospheric horror than actually, like, horror. There's not many jump scares. There is a jump scare, but it is based around you as a character going around your house and aliens exist. I would recommend playing it for yourself. It's, out of all of the games that I've listed so far, my favorite is Silent Dark. And it's also the oldest. So, if you like old Roblox horror games or want to find a lot of the pieces of the past of Roblox, search up GCC. And if you want a really enjoyable horror game experience, search up Lightbulb Reilluminated. That remade version is beautiful. It's phenomenal. And I loved Lightbulb. That was my favorite old Roblox horror game by far. Thank you for watching.
Hey, waiting to get right, only leave you left behind. Up goes the early bird soaring down. Scrounge around for whatever worms might be obtainable. Never knew who flew about theirs first. So what's available, not a lot it seems. What you gonna do for it? Anything out means? Type of dedication you gotta have as you're blazing the path. Never know who trailing, you're hoping to get familiar with the ways of the things that we do. Ball hard and whole air.